Hi, in this section, we're going to talk about FGA APIs. So in the first section, we gave an overview about what is FGA, and then we talked about the architecture, modeling, how we can build a demo. Now we're going to talk about the APIs. And APIs are so important because this is the way that your application will be interacting with FGA. It's either API or SDK, and usually the SDK on the back end, they'll be calling the API. So we want to understand what APIs are important you're going to use. And there's more than the API I'm going to show in this training, but those are the most important one. And you can see here, there is the write API, which is basically you can use to add or delete data. And there is also the check, which is used to check yes or no, you're allowed like this, there's a relationship or not. And then there is also the expand and list objects, and those are actually what I was referring them during the first demo about the auditing API. This is where you can actually want to check on a specific printer if you have permission, all the users that have permission to use that printer. Um, so we're going to see this in detail. So let's just discover more what's expand and list object. So I'm going to go on the next page here, and you can see, for example, um, expand is basically getting on parent objects and going down to the relationships. You can see here I have documents. I want to expand all the users that are owners to this document. All right. So this is called expand. So for a specific object as a document or as a printer, I want to get all the owners or the users or the admins of a specific printer. So that's called expand. List object, it's going from the bottom of the tree to up. So you can see I can go to a specific owner. So I can go for a specific user and say, give me all the printers or all the documents that this user has access to. So in this example, I can expand to get all the um, for specific documents here, like document one, I want all the owners. So it will show me all the names of the owners for this document. Or I can list object where I can go from a specific user and say, get me all the user give me all the document that this user can print. Right. So let's see this in real life. So I have a postman here. And the first thing to call Auth0 API is to get an access token. So in Auth0 admin console, there's a place where you can create an client ID and client secret. Those are under the body here. And you call this endpoint with the client ID, client secret, and this is where FGA will respond back with an access token. Right, so I'm gonna call it here, and now I got a valid access token that I can start to call the rest of the APIs. So I'm gonna copy that access token. And the first API I want to show is I want to just copy it. All right, let me just make sure. Here we go. Right, so I copied the access token, and now the first API I want to show is to add data. So I'm gonna click on this one. And here there is a post API to write data. And under the body, you can see if I add writes here, that means this data will be added. If it was deletes, that means this data will be removed. So I want to add a data where I have a printer called test, and I want to add this printer to organization ABC as an org printer, right? So I'm gonna send this data. And actually, it's going to tell me the token is expired because I'm going to add the new token. So let's add the new token now. All right, and do it again. And the response back was 200. That means the data got added. So let's check that if it added or not. So I'm going to go on a check API, and I'm going to add my access. And under the body here, I'm going to check where is this printer has a relationship to this organization as an org printer. And it should say yes. So if I send this, it should come back and say, yes, they do have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this data and runs this check again. So I'm going to go on a delete API, and I'm going to add the new access. And here you can see, I want to actually delete. So instead of write, it's the same API, it's a post API, but instead of write, it's deletes. And I'm going to delete the data that I added. So I'm going to delete that. And now send me 200. So that means the data got deleted. And I'll do that check again. And tell me now, no, that printer is not part of this organization. All right, let's go to expand one. So on the expand one, I'm going to add my, sorry, let me go to the expand one. Here you go. Okay, so on the expand one, I'm going to put my token. And under the body, what I'm going to do is I want for this specific document, get all the owners. So I'm going to click expand. And FGA is going to tell me those are all the user that has owner relationship to this document. Now I'm going to do the last object, which is going from the user up to the document itself. So for a specific user, get me all the documents that this user have access to. So I'm going to go to the last object one. And I'm going to add access. And here under the body, I'm saying, get me all the documents that this user can print. So I'm going to click send. And those are all the documents that user Alexis can be able to print. So those 4 or 5 APIs basically are the main ones you'll be using them. Even the SDK will be calling them whenever you're actually working with FGA. All right, thank you.